Welcome back to the BTB Show, everyone. Today, it's myself, Max, and Earl. We're back in the studio. We're going to be talking about some bad teams for once. We usually show a lot of love to the good teams on the show, but today we're going to be looking towards the bottom of the conference. Specifically, some of these guys that the Pacers, the Kings, the Wizards, some of these two-way guys, end of the bench guys that are being thrown out there for the first time in their career or like maybe getting a second chance in a career. They're an early draft pick a couple years ago. Guys at the end of these teams' benches that are playing big minutes on national TV and are actually showing out. So, Earl, I'm going to start with you. Who's a name that's kind of caught your attention? Not as like necessarily a future NBA superstar, but just one of these guys on the tanking teams that you watch and you say, this is actually they're actually making this game kind of fun. They might have a future in the NBA.
Okay. Now look, I'm gonna throw you kind of a Uno reverse on this question because I feel
Okay.
like this guy should be actively playing for one of these tanking teams who's absolutely exceeding the level of the G League and it's honestly
Okay.
disrespectful what the league's doing to him. And that guy is Mac McClung for me. Like Mac is absolutely hooping. If you guys did not know this, because I know a lot of people didn't watch basketball last night, they didn't watch the G League, first of all, but last night, Mac McClung had 59 points, 10 assists, 5 rebounds, 19 for 34. He shot 8 for 17 from 3. Not bad, 42 minutes. And now he's the all-time leading scorer in G League history. My question here is not even a question, a statement. There's no reason in my mind that he can't right now be playing for a team you mentioned like the Nets, who really have no future for this. No, I'm sorry, no future is crazy. My bad. They have no stake for the rest of the season.
They have no precedent.
Even yeah, no present. Even a team like the Kings. Like what are the Kings? I turned on the Kings game yesterday. They got like 30, 40 bombed by the Hornets. Like they don't take basketball serious. Put him out there. Let him go hoop. Like I just don't understand. I feel like the league has absolutely failed him. They use him for content and dunk contests, but they barely
Mm.
give him an opportunity. They sign him to contracts just to get his name rights for their G League teams. They slash his NBA side of the deal and they just throw him in the G League again in the circuit. I don't think it's fair to him. I think it's very disrespectful. So I'll bring up the name Mac McClung. I mean, he's a hooper, bro. Obviously, he's shown he can do it at a high level. Why not put him on a team and actually give him minutes for a team who doesn't care about the rest of the season?
That honestly, yeah, that's a good point. I think one of the fun parts about this kind of end of the NBA season as we transition to playoffs is all the teams that
Yeah.
are out of the running and at the bottom who are resting all
Mm-hmm.
their guys or have all 10 players being injured for whatever that means. And we just get guys out there who like we would never see otherwise. These are guys who've been on
Yeah.
the team for the year, or maybe guys like Mac McClung who are G leaguers that get called up and we just get to see them hoop. And sometimes, like we learn about these players, they make a name for themselves, and sometimes it's enough to get themselves another contract. So
Yep.
personally, my Knicks have been playing a lot of these tanking teams the last few weeks, so I have a good amount of experience in watching these guys, which is part of what prompted the idea for this video. But a couple names that at least have stood out to me in the games I've been watching, where it's Knicks versus Wizards or Knicks versus Jazz or whatnot. Jaden Hardy. Honestly, I've kind of been a low-key believer in Jaden Hardy, but I think I've always thought he could be a decent NBA player when he was on Dallas. He never got a ton of minutes. He did play some when they made that finals run. He was kind of like a
Yep.
situational ninth man off the bench, but in the game he had against the Knicks, he was on an absolute heater. Like I think he ended with 25 points. This guy could not miss. Like he
Yeah.
looked like a legitimate NBA player. And I know he's been in the league a couple of years, not necessarily like a G League guy, but I think that if the Wizards don't keep him around into next year, some other team should go sign him because he is an NBA player. I think if he got a chance to be like a legitimate eighth or ninth guy, like a situational backup point guard, or even like a full-time backup guard for a team, maybe not a good team, but like a young up-and-coming team, he could become a piece of their core. So I'd be in favor of that. Josh Minot for the Brooklyn Nets, I didn't even know he was on the Nets. He came out and had a heater in the fourth quarter against the Knicks. Good shooter, athletic guy. Again, I think he could be an NBA player for next year. I feel like he's turned some heads. I hope I'm getting this guy's name right, but Tristan Matkovich for the New Orleans Pelicans,
Yeah, that's right.
like
Magic.
third
Yeah.
string center, second year player. I think he's 6'10",
Something to
six
do
foot
with all
11.
his
He's a
dunks.
tall guy, but pretty athletic. Got a really good jump shot on him. I think he's shooting
Yeah.
like 40 some odd from three this year, 50+% on corner
Yeah.
threes. I don't know. New Orleans looks like they got a player in this guy. I know they kind of got a backlog at center between Derek Queen, Eves Messi, and some Zion center minutes. Like they're gonna have to figure that out. I'm sure
Sure.
Popovich is not at the top of their priority list, but like if he ever became available, I'd want the Knicks to go get him. That guy looks like he could hoop. So he's a shout. And one more guy I'll give a shout out to is Kennedy Chandler for the Utah Jazz. Point guard, again, would he be playing if Keontae George and Markkanen and Kessler and everyone in Utah wasn't hurt? No, he wouldn't be playing. But he's playing now, and he's playing well. He's putting up, some little double-double action, little traditional point guard role. I think he could be a solid NBA player. So any other guys like those guys that are catching your eye, Earl, in these late season kind of tank fests?
I kind of have a guy, maybe not on the tank fest side, but a guy I want to give a shout out to when you talk about dudes getting second chance opportunities. I'm going to say Bones Highland for the Timberwolves.
Okay.
I feel like there was a situation where he was kind of just excommunicado off the Denver Nuggets. And now I'm looking at his last couple games. He had 18 points, shooting 6 for 12, 17 points, 5 for 11, 23 points, shooting 8 for 14, couple rebounds, couple assists there. And these are all games where his minutes are obviously elevated because Anthony Edwards has been out for the last week and a half. So I'm looking at guys like that as well, especially when you look at deeper teams who might actually be competing when it comes to playoff times. These guys getting confidence in minutes like this to help their team compete. I think they can have increased minutes when it comes to kind of, take that next step and potentially go compete for a championship. So that's another guy I'll kind of throw in there. Maybe not to our standards of tanking, but guys who are stepping up a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, if you put Bones Highland on, Sacramento right now, he's probably averaging 30 a game. Straight up. He's going to average 30.
Yes.
So, that's just the fun of it. Is in what other world would Bones Highland be able to do that? But, Heike, like I said, he stepped up. He's playing well for the T-Wolves right now. Are there any, Lakers guys that you got? Or, guys you've noticed in Lakers games
Lakers guys that honestly, I don't think there's anyone who's just, who shouldn't be. I can't say guys like Luke Kennard. I mean, he's leading the league in three-point percentage.
Yeah, we know how good Luke Kennard is already.
Jackson Hayes is Jackson Hayes. He's hooping. I will say, a guy I would love to see get more minutes on Lakers, who I feel like is really sneaky athletic, like when we talk about two-way guys, is Adu Thero. He's absolutely massive, balls. He's just a huge individual. I think he's 6'8", maybe around that range. But he's built for his age. So he's a guy who I would like to see JJ incorporate a little bit more. I've seen him talk about in interviews. He wants to slowly introduce him to the team, which makes sense. Obviously we had some injuries. He had a pretty small stretch. I think he had a 3-minute stretch. He looked okay. Obviously you're not gonna look great when you don't play with the team. You don't really know all the sets. So that sucks. But that's a guy I think maybe he could have some type of emergence in the playoffs if there came in a situation hey, Thero, we need you in. I could see him having one of those roles where he kind of locks in and it takes one of those spots.
Yeah, I mean, there are guys like that, like you said, guys on good teams that maybe should be getting an opportunity but don't. And who knows, maybe he'll wind up in the playoffs this year, getting us some spot minutes. Maybe he'll wind up going to another team and thriving. That is, that kind of stuff happens. So, I mean, think about the Golden State Warriors right now. How many guys on their team that are, getting up and playing minutes, LJ Cryer right now. Is LJ Cryer going to earn another NBA contract? Maybe, maybe not, but that's kind of the fun of it. Is we get to see, and the Warriors will be in the postseason one way or the other. They're going to be in the play-in. So, will Steph be there? Probably not. But it's always fun seeing these guys just kind of popping off. And then you got the guys who are rotation guys who are now the number one option that just put up the crazy stat lines. You get Bryce Sensabaugh 40-point games. You get Precious Achua. Didn't he have a 30-point double-double the other day, or almost
he had a crazy game a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, you get the fringe guys become bench players with real minutes, and the bench players become number one and number two.
Look at Maxi Romain. He's been hooping.
Yeah, well,
he was
I
know he was a draft pick, but he was kind of late though.
True. They had a lot of fun this year.
Yeah, he was either late or he was picked up afterwards. I can't remember how they got him. But yeah, I think looking at some of these younger guys, like you said, maybe not necessarily G League type players, but younger players who have the opportunity to play now because of injuries.
Trey Jones is another one. Sorry to interrupt, but Trey Jones.
That's a good one. That's a good one.
He's on the team. He's on the Bulls with 85,000 other guards, but sometimes he looks like the best guard on the Bulls.
Yeah. Oh, what's his name on the Bulls too? Small guard.
You're gonna have to be way more specific. My God. We're talking about the Bulls here.
Yeah,
Sorry, Jay, but there's too many. There's too many on
the
this team.
smallest bull guard. The smallest bull guard.
Yuki Kawamura?
Yes. Yuki Kawamura.
Okay.
I feel like maybe he doesn't have like the most like crazy stat wise games, but he's had a couple of games where it's like, okay, he's hooping. And then you put him in the G League, he'll go get you 25 assists. I've seen he had a crazy game before.
He's an NBA player. Honestly, like, it's the last hurrah for these teams. They're throwing guys out there. They're evaluating talent. And once in a while, you get a hit. Hopefully, some of these guys wind up sticking around in the league in the years to come. But at the very least, they're giving us some fun games to watch. They're making these, 15, 16, 17 win games at least a little more entertaining for the average fan like us. So let us know in the comment section below if there's any kind of these under the radar two-way G League bench guys that you would like to spotlight, that you've been impressed by these last couple weeks and that you're looking forward to watching as we continue the run up to the NBA postseason. As always, thank you guys for watching, checking out our content here on TikTok, wherever you find your videos. BTB's probably there. Appreciate you guys. That's Earl. I'm Max. We're signing off. Have a good day, everybody. Adios.